We're four women that are HIV positive. These are our stories. These are our lives.
I was drunk when I slept with the man that gave me HIV. I was drunk and I didn't know how to say no. I was drunk and I couldn't enforce my request on him. I was drunk and I didn't care.
You know, even though I did use drugs and I drank for a lot of years, I thought it was some kind of research. I was going to write a big expose, win a Pulitzer Prize or something. But I was a nice girl. And you know, nice girls, of course, are not drug addicts or alcoholics. Nice girls are not at risk sexually. So being diagnosed was really, really devastating for me.
She came into the room and she said, you're here for your results? And I said, yeah. She said, well, I'm sorry, your test came out HIV positive. And I'm like, okay. I said, cool, okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, no, wait a minute. HIV negative, HIV positive. I said, no, I'm pregnant. I didn't have the baby. No, I can't be HIV positive. I just finished reading this book, and the girl in it just found out she was HIV positive. You know, it's not me. I'm still reading that book. I'm in that book right now. That's what she's talking about.
It's not going to happen to me. That's the same things I used to say. It's not going to happen to me. Having unprotected sex at a young age, I thought it wasn't going to happen to me. But then I found out when I got tested when I was pregnant, I found out it was me. Having no symptoms to my knowledge, because hey, I was healthy. But I did know that I put myself at risk, sleeping around with older people that were sleeping around. And when I took my test, I found out that I was positive. But it's not going to happen to me.
I don't know how I left the doctor's office. I floated. She gave me a cab. I took a cab. I went to go pick my son up from the after school. I floated. I just was walking on air. And I was just overwhelmed that this was actually happening to me. It could not be happening to me. I just couldn't believe it. And I floated through everything, and all I knew was I had AIDS and I was going to die.
When I was diagnosed, I was totally devastated, and for about a year or two, I totally went into denial. It's like, look at me, I'm fine, nothing's going to happen to me. And what scared me most was that I was so ashamed that I couldn't even tell my family. I was afraid that people around me would know. I would listen to people talk about people with HIV, not knowing that I was in their circle and I had HIV. I became homeless. I used to sleep in the Boston Commons. I slept on the rotunda in the Boston Commons, and my penthouse was the FAAN room inside the Park Street station. And these are places that in my life, in normal times, I would never have been. But because of the fear and the running that I was doing because of HIV, that's where it took me. It took me to homeless shelters. It took me to clothing banks to get a pair of clothes just for the day. It took me into constantly unsafe predicaments.
I felt that I was damaged. I felt that I was one of those cans on the shelf, that I was damaged. I felt that I was never going to have a relationship again. Nobody was ever going to love me. I just didn't think that I was going to be able to deal with HIV. I felt very, 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 suicidal. I was very scared. I was hurt. And I just felt like my life was ending. I had AIDS. I didn't know I didn't had AIDS and I was going to die, you know.
My biggest one was because I found out when I was pregnant. So I wanted to think of what could I do to have a healthy baby? How could I do this? Would my baby be infected? What kind of things would I have to deal with having an infected child? Dealing with the fact that I was having unprotected sex and that these are the things that I did to myself.
Living with HIV, it has totally changed my life. It has totally changed the way I think, the way I see things, how I act. My life is totally different now. I don't feel like a normal person. I feel that I have something inside of me that's slowly but surely killing me. And there is nothing I can do about it. I can't do anything about it. I can't poke a hole in me and just let it squish out. I can't do that.
I was pregnant. I had to bury a baby at 6 months old. And basically, for a long time, I had to live with the guilt that this is something that I did to this child, that because I didn't take precaution, I got pregnant and had a baby that was infected with HIV and had to deal with that.
I try to deal with being HIV, and even then, since now, up until now, my life has totally changed. You'll find out that the people that you thought were your friends, some of them are not really going to be there for you. You're going to be disappointed in the way that people react to you sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be overjoyed, but sometimes you're going to be really hurt by the negative attitudes that you get from people around you.
They look at us like we're dirt, we're trash to begin with. They think you're either a sexual pervert or a low-life dope fiend and God is punishing you. You can't go to everybody, even in your own family. You can't go to people and say, I don't feel good, and expect a hug and some sympathy in return. No, because half of them will say, well, you shouldn't have been living like that. You shouldn't have done that. You know you shouldn't have had sex with that boy. Come on, girl, let me tell you something. Taking 2 pills does not make this thing all right, not at all. It's horrible.
It hurts, you know, to know that with all the education that's there, that people still are so cruel sometimes, you know, making fun of us and stuff like that.
What brought me to be HIV positive? I'm a victim of silencing the self. I grew up believing that I was supposed to do what people said. I was a major people pleaser, and I did whatever I needed to do for you to like me.
And child, it doesn't work. For that moment, that 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe even for a day, you feel like, oh, you're accepted, everybody likes you, you're fun, you're the life of the party, everybody wants to be your pal. But in the midnight hours when you're by yourself, you don't feel too good about yourself. And you're really not going to feel good about yourself if you start developing rashes and itching and it burns when you pee. Who are you going to go to? You can't go to those same friends that didn't want you to say no.
I've endured multiple rapes, physical beatings, unhealthy lifestyles. I got into drugs and drinking. And it came from my need to belong somewhere where I didn't think that I had a self of myself and a sense of self. And so I put myself in risky situations because I wanted to please people. I didn't say no to safe sex because I didn't want people to not like me. I thought that meant that they liked me. And it took a long time for me to understand that that's a fallacy.
I believed him. Why would I Why would you think that somebody that you're in a relationship with, that you come to love, you wouldn't think they would do anything to hurt you? I never thought he would do anything to hurt me. And also, I wasn't strong enough to make certain decisions for myself because I didn't want to hurt him. Never mind knowing that I'm hurting myself, I didn't want to hurt him. So I put myself into a situation where I had a relationship with this man, knowing later on down the line that he was fooling around with other girls. And I wasn't strong enough that particular night to tell him to wear a condom. I wasn't strong enough to do that because I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to lose him.
We didn't think we had choices. We thought we had to please this guy no matter what the cost to ourselves. And look where look where we are now. I mean, come on. I don't want to see my granddaughter grow up with this sword of Damocles hanging over her. Well, I can either please him or live. I mean, that's a hell of an option, don't you think?
I mean, everybody in the world wants love, you know. So because you want love, you're supposed to turn around and have HIV, a sickness that is an incurable disease. I don't think that for love, that should be anybody's price for love.
Women, we are the great compromisers because we compromise our self-respect, we compromise our health, we compromise our happiness. Some cases, extreme cases, we compromise our sanity. All in the name of, or maybe not all, but primarily in the name of relationship. Like Tona said, to please him. Mm-hmm. Instead of pleasing ourselves. And I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with compromise. I negotiate on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and it's all good. But there's got to be something wrong with your thinking when you're willing to compromise your health.
Your life.
Your life, actually, right, your life, mm-hmm. because you're afraid of displeasing another person.
And I just feel that so sad that I had to go through all the things that I had to go through to find out what, you know, just to love myself, just to have respect for myself and not to compromise myself for someone else, to please somebody else or to make somebody else happy or to live my life as other people choose. Because in the end, I'm the one that has to lay down with me at night. I'm the one that has to turn around and deal with the loneliness, the sadness, whatever it is I'm feeling. I'm the one dealing with it. So why am I doing everything to please other people? Why am I trying to live up to other people's standards? You know?
In a way, it's kind of maybe selfish in a way, but it's all about me. You know, it's all about loving me, liking me, and it's all about protecting myself, not to continue to put myself at risk for some man that's only going to be there, 6 months, then after a while, he going to move on to somebody else.
Right.
But I don't put myself at risk for this fool.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
So I've learned a lot about myself, and I wish that I was much stronger back at that time. But I wasn't, and I just wish I wasn't at a point at that time where I was afraid of losing him. If he wants to go now, then, you know, he can go. That's fine with me.
I've been living with the virus for about 11 years. And the first probably 4.5, 5 years of my life with the virus were very, very stressful.
I just chose to believe that there was no good in me and that, you know, I needed somebody else to make me whole, or I needed somebody else to make me good. No, I'm good by myself, you know.
And I finally got into a space where I came to understand that I was not HIV. I mean, that was not who I was. It was part of who I was. It is part of what I am now. But it has made me grow in ways that I was not able to in my younger years.
I don't want anybody, teen or otherwise, I don't want anybody to think that HIV is a walk in the park, because it's not. It's really jammed up, really it is. But I don't want anybody to think either that because you have HIV, you have to just lay down and die or walk around in sackcloth and ashes, because that's not the case either.
I do have fun. I do still have sex. I go out. I drink my apple martinis. I get my groove on the dance floor. My girlfriend looking for me. She know where I'm at. I'm on the dance floor. But also in reality of it, it is hard work. It's very hard work being HIV positive, living with this, because you do have to, extremely take care of yourself.
My life is fun now because I like me. That's cool. But I would like to think that in a perfect world, I would have liked me without picking up a drug or a drink and having used a condom. I would like to think that I still would have got there, and it wouldn't have taken me 57 years either to get there, is what I would like to think. And I'm sure that, other people with HIV feel that way too.
And I ran into a friend of mine one time that said, he hadn't seen me for a couple of years, and he said, "Oh, geez, I heard that you died and that you had AIDS." And I said, "Well, I have AIDS, but I'm not dead." And I knew right then that I had gotten to the point where I maybe could help someone. And so that's what I'm trying to do.